So it's essentially talk about inflation and ways of dealing with inflation in the monetary system. That's what the topic today is about. And when we think about this across different schools of thought in economics, it's relatively uncontroversial that the goals of government are full employment and price stability. So even a mainstream economist will agree with that statement. And so then the question is, well, how do you get there in a monetary system? How do you achieve that? And one of the other things that economists all agree with is the concept of efficiency. And efficiency is doing the best with what you've got. That's a sort of prosaic way of expressing it. And we think about micro efficiencies and macro efficiencies. And so if you've been around for cognizant for the last 30 years, you'll know that there was from Paul Keating onwards in Australia, there was this constant discussion about microeconomic efficiency, deregulation, microeconomic efficiency, fixing up transfer systems, pensions, unemployment, income support systems, weeding out the inefficiency and the corruption. And so the whole emphasis on neoliberalism has been constructed within this concept of micro-efficiency, getting the trains to run on time and stuff like that, getting markets to work better. Yet at the same time, they've allowed unemployment and underemployment and labour underutilisation to persist at elevated levels. Now, when we think about price stability, there's really only two ways you can get it. And these both involve the use of what we call buffer stocks. And you can either have an unemployment buffer stock or you can have an employment buffer stock. That's really the only two ways you can discipline price fluctuations. And so the question for today is, what's the best buffer stock to use? It's a central framework, the Phillips curve, and the modern expression of that framework was an unemployment buffer stock system. Now, as I was thinking as a progressive economist, how the hell are we going to get through all of that? We had to come up with our own replacement for that organising framework, the Phillips curve. And the job guarantee as an employment buffer stock replaces the Phillips curve in the macro structure we now call MMT. So if you go out and you're arguing in social media that the job guarantee is peripheral to MMT, well then you don't have a clue. It's a central core component that replaces a central core component of mainstream theory that's done so much damage. And it's not just you can't also conceive of the job guarantee as just an employment creation program. In MMT, it's a macroeconomic stability program. Go back to the first entry on the slide. Full employment and price stability. It's not just a job creation program, it's a specific job creation program that has a buffer stock mechanism and has a fixed wage, and it allows the government to transfer workers from an inflating non-government sector into a fixed price job guarantee sector without causing unemployment. Whereas the current orthodoxy, the Nehru approach, transfers workers out of an inflating sector into unemployment, into an unemployment buffer stock. In MMT, we think it's better to transfer workers out of an inflating non-government sector into a fully employed job guarantee sector. It's core to our attack and our alternative vision in macroeconomics. It's not something that you can, if you don't like, you can dispense with.